just basic entry levels using market cipher, how to find a perfect, or not necessarily a perfect trade, just making it easy to find a very obvious or glaring entries, trading entries. So what would I do? Let's say if I wanted to enter a market or enter an asset and trade, what would I do? Well, obviously, like I said earlier on, trading is all about direction. So you just have to find the very direction of these oscillators. These are your Google Maps. Obviously, these are just your Google Maps. So find the very direction of all these oscillators. Sorry. If majority of your oscillators are heading towards the positive territories, it means it's the best time to buy. You understand? If you're heading towards the negative territories, that's the best time to sell. So it's just finding confluence in terms of direction. So the majority of the confluence means the majority of your trading direction is affected. If you see majority of your oscillators or your Google Maps heading towards the negative, let's say all these ones are heading towards the negatives, it means it's the very best time to sell. You don't have to buy, you just have to sell. You understand? So these are just basic entry levels for market cipher. And I said market cipher is basically a simple script. You don't really need to be sophisticated trader. Sorry, you just have to be a normal amateur guy who understands how to read direction pertaining to a given asset with oscillators or Google Maps as your script or your reference data, and that's all you need to do. So a given market like this, you can realize that majority of our oscillators are in the positive territories. But again, this is not enough. To find a perfect entry, you have to navigate amongst all these time frames to see the very direction of price. Time frames are basically your resolution. So you navigate amongst all these time frames, find the very best direction in terms of seeing where these time frames are all heading towards. If you see majority of your time frames saying that we are in the positive territories, you pair it in accordance with the very direction of your oscillators and see the direction and trade in accordance with that direction. So with this one, I realized that most of our oscillators are in the positive territories. We have the VWAP still struggling in the positive, the money flow still struggling, momentum wave seems to be curving, still in the positive. So obviously Bitcoin is on the rise, so you trade in accordance with the very direction of these oscillators. When you see most of them in the negative territories, it means you you navigate amongst your time frames, you realize that if you have a majority of these oscillators in the negative territories, then it means it's the best time to sell. But again, it happens when you know the direction. It's just one way of just trading, and we have several ways of also knowing the very direction by using market cipher as your technical analysis script. Like I said, market cipher is overall is a structure of indicators. These are your indicators or your road signs. Sorry, and your oscillators. These are your Google Maps. So you use it in accordance with them, and you find your, I would say, your basic entries. And overall, trading is simplified. I do have a course, and I always keep repeating myself. It's in a pipeline, and with time I'll release it. It simplifies almost everything. It gives you let me say, a summarized or a simple way of trading. Like I told you, trading is always simplified. Once you know what you're doing, it's always simplified. So until then, have a nice time.